second episode of The Lit Show, Fear into Faith. We are here to serve and uplift women from every background by empowering change spiritually, physically, mentally, and socially.
We hold to the belief that if you are willing to strengthen your spiritual life, then your physical, mental, and social strength will follow.
I'm Janie.
And I'm Britt.
And we are lit. All right, so let's dive right in to fear into faith. This is a very, very good one for us.
Yes, I like it.
Understanding fear. So before every episode, even me and you personally, before we even jump into anything, we like to define words. So define fear is be afraid. A good fear is fear of the Lord. Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Fearing God is knowing God. And that is so deep to me because He's the only one we're supposed to fear. And by fearing Him, we're knowing Him. So that right there in itself is just amazing to me.
It's almost like it shakes you inside a
I
little
know,
bit.
it
Like,
does.
Gosh, reading the word, He's powerful.
Yeah.
So it's a fear in a different type of way than fear of like going on a roller coaster or jumping out of an airplane or like
Definitely.
That's a different type of fear than fearing of the Lord.
Yeah, I agree. And a bad fear would be the spirit of fear. The spirit of fear is caused by people to become afraid of life. An example, someone with a spirit of fear about being alone would be in situations that are unhealthy just so that they are not by themselves. And I know for myself, I've been in so many situations like that, ex-boyfriends, where I haven't wanted to be alone. And whether it because it's normal to be with someone in America, in society, financially scared to be on your own, a whole bunch of fear of being alone has haunted me throughout my whole life. Even being scared to be at home by myself when there's a bad thunderstorm when I was smaller. I mean, I know that hits home for me. I'm not sure how you feel about
just choosing to settle or having to be with somebody because you are afraid to be alone is a huge one in my past life.
Absolutely.
I mean, being codependent is a huge thing that we'll probably discuss a lot in this lit show. So, yeah. Definitely.
I know that you've mentioned it before that you've dealt with codependency, and it's been tough.
Absolutely.
So the power of faith, define faith, complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Faith is so powerful in the Bible. The Bible tells us, I don't know if you want to go ahead and pull out your Bible and read the Matthew 17:20, but it tells us that faith can move mountains. And
yeah, this is one of my most favorite verses.
Absolutely.
Too. You can keep going. This is going to take me a minute to find it.
Yeah. In Matthew 21:22, and whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. And we've talked about this so many times. That doesn't mean just ask God for anything you want and He'll give it to you. Because if it's not in God's will for our lives, then we're not going to get it at all. But it does remind us to pray to God and to ask Him for things because He will give them to us.
That's right.
In Matthew 17:20, you want to read that one?
Yes. He replied, "Because you have so little faith, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you."
That's so powerful.
Yeah, all it is just that small of what the smallest amount of faith is just like a small little seed in your heart. And I visualize like light going through that seed, and that's all He needs to see, just that small little amount for Him to come into your heart.
Yeah, you also have a necklace with a mustard seed.
Yeah, I do. I have a mustard
that.
seed necklace. My mom has earrings.
Oh,
they're so cute.
Does it remind you
Oh, absolutely.
that you can move mountains?
I know it's there all the time.
I love that.
Yep.
That's such a powerful verse to me, and it definitely is also one of my favorites. Recognizing fear, Recognize Satan's attack on your mind through fear. Fear makes us forget about God. Shift your focus. When fear creeps into our thoughts, we need to change our focus. We need to keep our minds on God. How do we do that when fear comes knocking at the door? Me personally, how I do it is pray and focus on God, spend time in His Word, worship. I love turning on some worship music when I'm feeling worried about something and just remembering that God's there. Worship music has always helped me realize that God's there.
Yeah.
And it's such a blessing to me to even have that, because it's effortless. You don't have to read, you don't have to do anything but just sit there and just
listen
think
and
about
take it in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know you said on your way to work in the mornings you like to listen
yeah,
to.
you can cut out any of the negative thoughts that are coming to you by just cutting on worship music. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I'm bouncing up and down. I send every time I put on a song, I like want to send it to a friend because it's making me feel a certain type of way, and I want to share the joy with them too, and it's just fun to do that.
I love when you send me songs, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I get so excited.
Yeah, sometimes it's when I'm in the middle of a loan or something, so I'll have to listen to it later. But I know that you sent me one just recently, I think last week, and it was a hype song.
Yeah, it
and I was not anywhere where I could get hype, and I was like, oh, no, she didn't.
Oh, I've listened to it like 6-7 times. I don't even remember how many people I sent it to that morning, but I was excited about that song.
I love that. It's so important to acknowledge and confront your fears also. I know you know that I had a fear of mice, which I'm still probably half scared of them, but not an annoying scared anymore. But I remember I sat on the table for 6 hours waiting for my parents to get home because there was a mouse in the kitchen, and I was terrified. And, where we lived in the country, we had field mice, and they would always come inside. And we constantly had mouse traps set up. We wouldn't get very many, I think, from when it turned cooler out, they wanted to come inside. But I remember sitting there just crying and scared, and it's funny looking back.
You thought I was going to get you?
Yes, that little mouse.
It's so normal where
I'm
we
so
live.
embarrassed, I know. Yeah. But looking back at it, I'm like, why did I could have just said, God, move that mouse.
Yeah.
And that mouse would have moved. But now I can actually stomach even looking at them on TV if there's a mouse show like Stuart Little or something. I'm going to be okay to watch it because I'm not that much terrified anymore of it.
You think you'd be that afraid now as an adult? Like, would you
get
up on the table
I
if you saw
haven't
it?
seen any.
I think I'd get scared at first. I'd be like, oh gosh, there's a mouse.
Since we
or,
live
oh
on
my
the
gosh,
beach,
look, there's a snake.
I don't know if there's any mice on the beach since we live on the beach. So I don't know if we would ever.
I don't know if they are. They're more like crabs.
And I don't have a fear of crabs.
No, me neither. I have 4 hermit crabs, actually. I do.
That is wild to me. Why?
Well, because my goddaughter gave them to me, and I'm trying to keep them alive.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes,
Yes, but it's actually kind of fun.
But for you to go buy them, I don't think I could picture you. But that was sweet.
Well, she got me 2 of them, and then I felt like they needed friends, so I did go buy 2 more. And they can live for 15 years, Janie. What am I going to do? They get, huge. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to call the, what do they call the Humane Society?
Can you let them go? Can you? I think the animal hospital.
I probably well, I wouldn't want to let them go, though, because I've domesticated them into knowing how to live in a little house. So if I took them to the beach, they'd be like, where am I at?
I think you have to continue putting bigger shells in their cage.
Oh, I do.
So they can crawl into them, and then they get bigger.
They do, but how about when they get this big?
I don't think I've ever seen one that
Look
big.
it up on Google. It will show you.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
Did you have a fear of crabs?
No.
Okay.
I got on the floor with her and was playing with them. I was like, oh my gosh, I want one. And then she bothered her mama over and over and over to get me a crab. So they went and got me 2 hermit crabs.
I remember we went to the beach one summer, and this was when I was little. We had gotten hermit crabs, and me and my brother, we drowned at them.
I know. When we were kids, me and my brother killed them too.
I know. We didn't know. And we couldn't keep a fish alive either. And my mom was a very clean, she still is. She's clean, organized, everything. We could not have animals in our house, girl. She
Oh,
did not like that.
we bred
So we
dogs.
had to have stuff like turtles, stuff that was non-messy. And you know what's crazy is I had 5 mice when I was little.
Did you really? Like,
My dad used to
pet
call me
mice?
Cinderella. I think my first word was trash. And I would throw things away. And I'm pretty sure that, like, I felt like they're out to get me because they died. We went to Pennsylvania and I forgot to put water in their tanks or in their water bottle things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got back, they looked like they had disintegrated.
Yeah.
So I feel maybe that's why I'm scared of them, because I feel like they're always out to get me.
Because you killed them. I don't like to use that word killed, but yeah.
No,
It's
but I
what
did.
happened. Oopsie.
But I'm being real, and I did.
I had a
kill
pet
them.
hamster.
Did you kill it?
And that thing bit me, and no, my daddy killed it. He threw it out the window. He was like, "Don't you touch my daughter like that."
They hurt when they bite.
I started crying, and he thought I was crying because it hurt. I'm like, "No, I'm crying because you killed my animal."
Your dad done saved the day.
Yeah, he did not like his little girl
I could
get
not
hurt.
see your dad doing anything like
He
that. He's
did.
too gentle.
He did not like that.
The only thing I've seen him get aggressive with is a pool ball.
Yes, he does love playing pool. My whole family does.
I know, I love that. So I have a great story. Well, Britt and I have a great story about fear, and it's this podcast.
Yes.
So I know we discussed in our first podcast, when the introduction podcast, about how I kept on hearing the song Oceans and dreaming about it and waking up singing it, and us walking out to Jesus on the water. And it's very, very scary to put your stuff out there.
It has been, to be raw and real and open. I think what's helping me right now is just watching you, and just it's helping me. It's helping me speak and find my voice. Like, I just feel comfortable. So
yeah,
like,
in the studio too. Like, it's so just the Holy Spirit's in here.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so amazing,
you
and I
can
know
feel
the
it.
studio's been used from what they've told us for music, worship music, and practicing and stuff like that. It's been prayed over, and it's just, you can literally feel the Holy Spirit in here.
Yeah.
And it's honestly amazing.
It is.
And the one thing I do want to say is that with this whole podcast thing, we have had so many signs from God to do this. Just take a leap of faith. It is mind-blowing. And fear is the enemy. So Satan is the one that doesn't want us doing this. Satan's the one that doesn't want us to put more of God's information out there for people to ask about, and for people to continue their journey with Jesus.
Yeah.
So
I think he's been trying to beat down on me too, because of the fear of me finding my voice. So I've had to beat him off of me, especially this past week before I got here.
Yeah.
My word, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
Thursday night, I was like, "Oh, Lord, help me rest tonight." And I finally went to sleep. And when I woke up way before my alarm, my brain started going, and I started speaking out. And I imagined us in this room right now.
I love that so much.
And all these things started flowing out of my mouth. And I was like, "Oh, gosh, Lord, help me remember these things." It was so wild.
Well, I told you my dream I had about us with the podcast.
Yeah,
all
that
we
just
did was
continuously
laugh.
We weren't even
We
talking.
didn't even
We just
say
were laughing with
anything.
each other.
I wonder
Yeah,
how many people would just watch us laugh.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know.
Because they do say that you should laugh.
Yeah, I mean, that's God's gift to us.
And it's healthy.
It's God's gift to give us emotions.
It is.
Yeah. And feelings.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what else do you feel? I know that earlier today, we got into a little spat and a little argument, and I feel like that was Satan.
Yeah,
because you just want to not agree with me with whatever I say, and I know I can be the same way with you sometimes. But it's just so crazy how we're just like, okay, we're going to stop right now and we're going to pray. And I don't know if your prayer was kind of like a mean prayer towards me too, because I heard you. I heard in your voice kind of like saying like,
because I was probably frustrated with
yes.
it. Was probably me being frustrated with myself though,
Yeah.
Janie, mostly. I know it was.
Yeah. Until you said like, until you said my name and then the actions that I was doing. But still,
Yeah.
that's still good to
See,
remind.
I don't even remember what we were arguing about, honestly.
I remember what we were arguing about. But I never forget what we're arguing about. Because you know me, I'll bring it up 2 days from now saying,
I kind of do remember, but I let it go.
Argue with me.
Yeah. It's just so easy to let it go with you. I think it's healthy to argue with the right people.
Yeah, I do too. And we always bounce back and we never stay in an argument.
That's the most important thing.
It is. It's very important. But I feel like that was just the enemy trying to attack us and trying to get us unfocused.
I do
from
agree
what we
with
were
you
trying
on that.
to do.
But how about it knocked us back into shape? We went right to it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to this right here.
What?
With the praying and focus on God and spending time in His Word, I kind of wanted to discuss the whole thing with you. Is probably like, I want to say maybe 8 months ago or 6 months ago, but I was like, what is that? All that writing that you're doing? And it was your prayers. And I was like,
oh, this is good.
Can I please like have one of your prayer books to read? And I remember you taking a whole bunch of pictures and just letting me read your prayers. Mm-hmm. And it meant so much to me. And I started doing it myself. I started doing one for the kids, all of them. I started doing one for me and Daniel. And I just started writing out my prayers. And man, what a big help that's been. And to even go back and look at it and see my answered prayers and to see the ones that weren't answered, but they were not for me.
Right. That's big, right?
Yeah, because at that moment, I wanted it so bad. Mm-hmm. I wanted it so bad. And God's like, not today, Janie. And God knows me. I am not His patient child. I definitely am not patient. I don't like to wait. Anything that I even try to talk people into it because I'm like, if it's good, then you don't have to ask God. Because why do you have to ask God if it's good? But sometimes you do. And you have to go with God's will because that might not be God's will.
Yeah. I try to be patient with myself and think about God first before I make a decision, especially big ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the prayer books, that has helped me overcome a lot of my fears because I've looked back and noticed that why was I even worried about that? And I know one of them is teaching the class at church, the finance class. I've been doing finance for 18 years now. I'm not scared of that part of it, but incorporating it into God and discussing how finance is also biblical, that was so tough for me, and I did it. Mm-hmm. I taught a 2-week class on it, and it was amazing.
And I'm sure you nailed it because you're so gifted in that department. You know a lot about money and how it works. Yeah. And so you've taught me a lot through my life in the past 20 years about it. So, I mean, you and I are hairdressers. Yeah. So you kind of took me under my wing because you had been a hairdresser a little longer than me and like showed me the way in the beginning. And I was like, oh, okay, that's how that works.
Yeah, so. Like your online banking.
Yes.
We don't have to balance checkbooks anymore. We can actually look on our online banking.
No, you do what works for you.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, everybody has their own way, but as hairdressers, there is a easier kind of way to do that.
Absolutely. I love that. Mm-hmm. But so what made you think about writing down your prayers?
I think ultimately what it was that I had a hard time catching up on my emotions and my feelings and what was going on inside of my brain. And being with a therapist for 10 years and learning to write, she's spoken to me about writing my feelings. And then I started thinking, well, how come I don't talk to God on this paper too? So I just was like, oh, let me start writing letters to God. And then they ended up being that is a prayer. That's awesome. It's basically you're talking to your best friend when you're praying. And sometimes it's harder to just say it like, because you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So writing it down, you would not imagine what would flow from your heart and your brain onto paper.
Yeah.
And that's what I started doing, and I don't even know how many notebooks I have now of those.
When I first started doing it, I felt the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And
He will speak through you.
And it's amazing because you're right. I just flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never flowed like that. You know I'm not good with writing.
And it feels good, right?
It does.
And you don't need to think about your grammar or anything. That's not what it's about.
Mm-mm.
You're getting your feelings down on paper, and God knows way before you even write it down what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Because He made us.
Amen.
You know, He knew exactly who we were going to be before we were even born.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which that in itself
that blows my mind too.
Yeah, mine too. So as far as spending time in the Word, what do you normally do? What is your daily routine with that?
Well, every morning I get up, make my coffee, and I come back. I call my bed my sanctuary because I've got all my stuff set up just the way I like it, and that's just my spot. That's where I talk to God the most. I live alone, so it's just that is my spot. I come back to my bed and I open my Bible and I pray a small little prayer first. Or on the way to get my coffee, I say a prayer like, thank you for this day and all that. And then I come back and I open my Bible up and I read a daily devotional every day on my phone. I'm sure everybody has it. It's the little emblem with the red Bible on the front of it. I open that up every morning and it says a prayer. And a lot of the times I'm meant to read it in that moment.
I love that.
And then I dive deep in it, and it goes down into discussing what it means and everything. And sometimes it brings me to thinking of a song, a worship song. I'll play the worship song, or I'll just skip to something else I thought of, or get out Google and ask the dictionary what a word means because I don't understand. Then it ends up somewhere else. I'm just kind of all over the place sometimes with it.
Yeah. Since you've been saved, I know we discussed it in our last podcast, about 4 years, like since you rededicated your life to the Lord, you have been such an inspiration to me. And I have been a Christian basically my whole life. You know, I've went out and in and, you know, stuff like that. But it's amazing how you can keep me on track when I've been saved longer and raised in a strict Christian home. And I just thank you so much for your obedience and faithfulness to God, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even know about writing the prayers down. You know, I was already doing my daily devotions and stuff like that, but sometimes it gets rusty. And you need something new to kind of excite you again about God, because you need to be reminded of different things. And this Bible is so big.
Yeah.
To just like get you excited again. I mean, just how you've motivated me to want to dig in deeper and want to learn more, and the stuff you send me on the phone all the time.
Yeah. Well, we're all unique. I mean, God made us all unique, so we all have different perspectives on things. And the way I learn things is not going to be the way you learn things. And so, and vice versa. So it's nice to have someone to share that with. And I call you my seed thrower. Ever since I've known you, and it took me a long time to listen, but you stuck by me, and so I want to tell you thank you for that. I mean, because you didn't have to, but you did, because you loved and cared for me, and so that's what made me like, I've got to be with this girl, because she came through a lot with me. So
yeah, that's how I feel about you with like, which you guys will hear later, her testimony, but just how are you even a Christian and trusting God?
Girl, I don't even know how I'm alive sometimes, for real, because woo-wee.
I know.
I've been through some stuff.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's my story.
And I want to thank you, because every time when we've hung out in the past, like, you have protected me. And a lot of times, maybe that's why I didn't have fear when I was around you, because you've protected me so much. And I love that you were like, oh, you know, we're not going to go to this party with these friends because they're doing this, even though you would engage in it.
Yeah.
You wanted to protect me.
I was being protective over you because I knew how good you were.
Oh.
And I did not want that tainted.
Thank you.
Even though I was tainted, I always was so empathetic with people. And I didn't know how to do that with myself yet until recent, not too far away from now.
Yeah.
But
You've
I cared
always
about
been a
everybody
nurturer.
else.
Yeah, you
and
have.
like I was a fixer, and just I was very protective over good people, that
Mhm.
especially the ones that really cared about me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Well, I can think of a lot of good friends that you have in your life that
Oh,
are
yes.
blessings to me. Just when you share their stories,
yep.
it's just such a blessing.
Mhm.
And I love that you just attract good people in general. You really do.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And
I agree, because I feel the same way about you
Mhm.
though too. Like when we started doing hair together, I don't even think people were trying to come and get their hair done. They just wanted the Britt and Janie show because we were fun and
well, look, now y'all have it on a podcast.
right. Yeah,
And you can still get
now
your
we're
hair done
here.
and watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel like we definitely
We
had our
lit
own
up
show.
the salon.
Yeah, we did. We did. And just imagine, like, if we were on the same page back then.
Oh,
You know?
I know it, but it wasn't timing. It wasn't
wasn't.
God's timing yet.
It wasn't.
I had to go through a lot
Yeah.
more.
But what's
Yeah.
amazing is that all of our talk has been healthy in that salon, and
Yeah.
we've been a witness and not even knowing that we were a witness.
Well, I know. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And looking back, God was always with me.
Yes.
He was.
He was.
Even though I didn't know him yet like I do now.
Yeah.
But he was definitely with me. I
Yeah.
could have died many times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I'm glad you didn't.
Nah, me too.
Well, I love you so much.
I love you too.
And you're special to me.
You're special to me too, and I am so excited for this. I can't even believe we're doing this.
I am too. Well, we're going to go ahead and close out. I hope you tune in. And if you have any feedback or any questions, please let us know. Hit that subscribe button and join us every episode. We encourage you to practice faith over fear. Thanks.
Bye.